Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in, and it's been 3 weeks since we've all been in self-isolation as a precaution to the COVID-19 outbreak. Over this period, many of us had to make compromises in our daily lives, in particular by opting not to travel to work or attending any social events. We have had to live a highly sedentary lifestyle. Now, due to the nature of office work and our excessive consumption of television, most people have been living a sedentary lifestyle well before this outbreak. However, self-isolation has been preventing us from engaging in even the minimal amount of physical activity required for maintaining a healthy status. So today, I thought it would be beneficial to talk about the effects that a sedentary lifestyle has not just on your physique, but on your overall physical and mental health. My goal here is not to intimidate you or cause any anxiety over the current situation, but rather I'm hoping that once you have a clear understanding of the health risks associated with the sedentary lifestyle, you realize how important it is now more than ever to maintain a daily exercise routine. So this video is meant to serve primarily as a motivation for staying active. So let's dive into the details. The first and most obvious consequence of lacking physical activity is muscle loss. The science behind this phenomenon is well understood and has recently been reaffirmed in 2016 in a review paper by Rutapa and colleagues, which I'll link in the description. The basic overview is that since you're not subjecting your muscles to moderate or vigorous use, you won't be generating an adequate amount of stimulus for muscle protein synthesis. If this trend is maintained for an extended period of time, your body adapts to it and enters a state of anabolic resistance. In this state, your body resists repairing muscle damage caused by intense activity, regardless of your diet. In other words, you could be digesting a large amount of protein and it won't matter because your body has adapted to an ultra low level of muscle protein synthesis. Why is this harmful? Let's say that you've been highly inactive for several months and your body has entered a state of anabolic resistance. For instance, because of the COVID-19 lockdown, you'll naturally become more sedentary due to the circumstances and you will not be able to provide your body enough stimulus to maintain muscle mass you have. Due to your body's state of anabolic resistance, your body will not effectively repair the inadequate amount of muscle damage caused by the lack of physical activity. And once you get back to being physically active, you'll experience intense soreness, start off with less skeletal muscle mass, even if you've been on a nutritious diet. So being sedentary can lead to an anabolic resistance, which will be a major obstacle due to physical growth once the lockdown ultimately ends or until you start to be active again. In addition to anabolic resistance, a sedentary lifestyle leads to insulin resistance, which affects your insulin sensitivity. In other words, the way that your body regulates glucose absorption is altered. The topic is not directly related to muscle atrophy, but it comes into play when we discuss other health effects later on in this video. Moving past your physique and aesthetics, a sedentary lifestyle also has massively detrimental effects on your physical health. Recent review articles by Biswas and colleagues and Resend and colleagues have summarized major findings. Cutting to the chase, decreased physical activity increases the risk of cardiovascular disease, breast cancer, colon cancer, colorectal cancer, endometrial cancer, ovarian cancer, and especially type 2 diabetes. Studies have also reported links between physical inactivity and metabolic syndrome, which increases the risk of heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes. I think some numbers are necessary here to provide some perspective. The 2014 review paper by Resend and colleagues reported that just 2 hours spent sitting per day is correlated with a 17% risk of cardiovascular disease and a 20% increased risk of type 2 diabetes. This is pretty harrowing. I'd imagine that most people are plucked either behind a desk working or on their couches watching television for at least 12 hours per day while in self-isolation. So purely from a standpoint of physical health, there should be no doubt in your mind about the importance of physical activity for the near future. Finally, a sedentary lifestyle can be devastating for your mental health. In a review article, Resend and colleagues also reported that in addition to physical health risks discussed earlier, physical inactivity has negative cognitive impacts such as low self-esteem, depression, social behavior problems, and declining productivity. Now, before you downplay the mental health effects, keep in mind that conditions like depression and low self-esteem lead to a vicious cycle. Your lack of physical activity might trigger depression, which further demotivates exercise of any kind, so it's extremely crucial to keep your mental health in check. To that end, a 2014 study by Hammer and colleagues on the cognitive impact of physical inactivity showed that the specific task performed while being sedentary alters the outcome on mental health. For instance, they reported that watching television while sedentary increases symptoms of depression and deteriorates cognitive function. However, and interestingly, reading and using the internet have positive effects on mental health. So if you're stuck at home and can't be physically active, you can keep your mental health in check by reading a book or doing something productive online. As much as it breaks my heart to say, watching YouTube videos is not that different from watching television. So to paint the overall picture, a sedentary lifestyle has highly undesirable consequences related to your physique, your physical health, and your mental well-being. And if the COVID-19 lockdown lasts much longer, these consequences will lead to major obstacles in all areas of your life. The last thing that you should want is to emerge from self-isolation having muscle loss, gained weight, increase your risk of fatal illness, and lost your capacity for productivity due to depression. Fortunately, what the research tells us is that simply making an effort to be physically active on a daily basis can mitigate, if not all, of these problems. So what can you do to keep your health in check? The Canadian Society for Exercise Physiology recommends at least 150 minutes of moderate to vigorous intensity aerobic activity per week for adults aged 18 to 64. I would suggest exceeding this amount, since any exercise beyond this recommendation will only result in further overall health and physique benefits as long as you're able to recover. For those who are interested in more intense workout routines during this pandemic, check out my video series on home workouts. I cover full body exercises you can perform at home without the need of any specialized equipment. I hope this video was useful and motivational for all of you. Stay safe and healthy out there, and God bless. Lastly, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss out on any further content, and let me know your thoughts on COVID-19 outbreak and self-isolation in the comment section below.